is this meeting is being
Such a
live
fancy
streamed.
form you've got here, Tony.
Is it
Very
any
impressive.
different than the? Isn't it just the same as your low def form?
We
Basically,
don't have a form for low def. Are you
There's
kidding?
no form.
I don't remember. I haven't done it in a while.
We're not fancy like that.
I don't. I feel like I'm really bad at low def, so I have not participated in a long time. But I always listen to it, and then I think about how I'm not good at it.
I mean, I'm terrible at it, and I still play. So
this is part of my incentive to create a game show. Is I'm really, really bad at all the other game shows. I'm bad at Trivial Pursuits, both UK and classic. I'm not good at.
Badness is half the fun, Tony.
Yeah, but I'm really bad.
Welcome to the
And
end
it should be
of
really fun.
the line
All
where
right.
you play to make fun of yourself.
I placed a YouTube link in places if people wish to share that with anyone. Why not? I'll put it on Mastodon. That's a thing.
Is it?
I could do it.
I had no idea.
I'm going to own the salmon and just
Own the salmon.
Yeah.
That could be a bumper sticker. All right. So I believe that Steve is the only new player. But Steve, you don't need to know very much to know how to play this game. You played other
That's
games.
perfect because I don't.
I mean, the basic mechanic, Steve, is you will be presented with a category, and your goal is to list other things in that category that other people would list. You get points for every overlap, and you get bonus points if you get a full slate of overlaps or the exact same list, I guess, and or the exact same list as somebody else. Those are melds and full melds. There's also some chaos points that we give out for answers that Tony and Kathy enjoy.
Or
the
hate.
basic. Or hate.
Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot
it's
about
really
that.
Then they're
chaos
negative
points.
points.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like the chaos points eat up a decent amount of time for what at the end matters not at all. The grand
Right.
scheme of the game. But again, there's also no money or prizes on this, so really none of this matters in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, this is your final reminder to make sure that everybody is recording their side of
On the right
Recording.
mic, please.
on the
Yes.
correct microphone.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
On the
am I?
correct microphone, I am recording.
All right.
Tony, are you drinking out of a Twizzler?
No, I'm drinking iced coffee out
Oh,
of
okay.
a straw.
Okay. It looked like it was like a Twizzler.
No, it's
It
just
should be.
like I don't know, what is this? It's not rubber, but it's a reusable straw. So there you go.
Silicon.
Nice.
That's the element.
I mean, drinking through a
Uh,
Twizzler is
Any
also
straw
a
is
totally
technically
valid.
reusable,
Do
Tony.
people do that?
Yeah,
Yes.
That's compostable too.
The Twizzler.
You nibble off the
Oh.
top and the bottom, and then you drink like
Yep.
Coke out of it, and it's like
But not
Yeah,
reusable.
Does it
Dr. Pepper.
flavor it, or is it just it feels like
Kind
something
of.
like a Roman emperor does before they sentence a bunch of people to death? So, all right. I never know how to start game shows, but we're gonna try right now.
Recording.
Welcome back to Mind Meld. It's me, Tony Sindelar, your host for the game where uniqueness counts against you. That's right, Mind Meld, the game where people are going to try and guess what other people are guessing, but those people are guessing what the other people are guessing, and it's a big guessing circle all the way around. As always, I am accompanied by my intrepid scorekeeper, Kathy Campbell. Hi, Kathy. How's it going?
Hi, Tony. I am very intrepid today.
I like to hear it. Kathy, have you recruited some players for us for which to meld of minds of melding?
I have melded some players together, and here they are. Our first player is super splashy. It's Monty Ashley.
It rhymes. Hi, it's me,
Ha-ha!
Monty.
Next up, it's his first time here, and it's our favorite person that rhymes with butts. It's Steve Lutz.
I'm sure there's at least 3 or 4 others that you prefer, but that's nice of you to say anyway.
She's here to find out if she can align. It's Erica Ensign.
ooh, very nice. I got almost no sleep last night, so I'm not going to overthink anything, and I hope this strategy works.
Perfect. As far as I know, he's not very foreign. It's Brian Warren.
Hey, I think my mind is ready for melding.
Excellent. And last but not least, someone I hope doesn't get disgruntled. It's Jean McDonald. That doesn't really rhyme. I know your last name is very
New one.
difficult.
That's
Wow.
okay. I'm nonetheless here, ready my mind to your all minds. You all minds.
Excellent.
It's about time you people started trying to think like me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
God, I'm
Things are going to be a lot
Congrats.
better from here on
or
out.
Steve,
Oh,
maybe it's time
God.
for you to think like other people. I don't know if that's really possible. I've met you.
Good luck.
So Mind Meld is going to be played over the course of 7 rounds. I will choose a topic for round 1. Each of you will get a choice to pick the topic for rounds 2 through 6, and then we have our final special round which is unique in that your answers actually have to be correct, unlike all the other rounds where you just have to conform to each other to get points. You all have access to the hopefully the Google form that you're going to use to put in your answers. You could put in your name right now, and I will remind players that you either need to remember the 5 things that you came up with, or you could take a screenshot of that page or copy and paste things or what have you. And listeners, you're always encouraged to play along at home, either scoring yourself against these players, or if you have other people around listening to a podcast with you, perhaps you've trapped a family in your car, possibly your family, you can make them play too. So I have chosen, as is tradition, the first round is often a category from my failed game show 7 or C, and we are getting more and more esoteric as I work my way down that list of questions. And so for your first round, you need to list the 7 sisters, or you need to give me 5 of them. 5 of the 7 sisters. The 7 sisters are elite liberal colleges on the East Coast, historically women's colleges. And again, there are a canonical list of 7 sisters. It doesn't really matter what those are. It only matters what your colleagues here think they are. So you're going to give me 5 colleges that you think are the 7 sisters. I'm giving more hints about the category this time because my category is esoteric and strange. The other categories will be dramatically more self-explanatory. This
Thank
I
heavens.
promise to you.
I am super excited for anyone that can list 5.
That would be exciting. I don't know if that will happen.
We'll find out.
I think I can list them all, but that's because I live on the East Coast. I've worked in higher ed for like 20 years, and I wrote this question a year ago. So
Yes.
those are all several things in my favor that are helping me get this answer correct. So far, no answers have been submitted. That's exciting.
It's
Oh.
hard. Come on.
Okay.
We got
harder.
one.
We got one.
Hooray.
I will remind the listeners and our players that Kathy, as our scorekeeper, will do all massaging of data and determinations of if there are answers that have overlap or are unique or whatnot. That's all at Kathy's discretion. There have been times that Kathy has made rulings that I would have made, let's just say, different rulings, and I am powerless to do anything about that.
Oh, Erica, I love you.
I knew my only hope was a chaos point from Kathy.
That's, remember, if you are completely
It's a
stalled out, you
strategy.
can at least try and hope you get some points from Tony or Kathy. All right, I think we've got 4 answers submitted, so we are waiting on
There we
Monty.
go.
Calling my
We've got
actual answers is generous, Tony.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're things you put into a form. All right, we are going to go through this in the order of play. So I want you to just to tell us about what you thought 5 of the 7 sisters were to the best of your abilities. And I totally have the order of play open here.
How was that order of play determined, Tony? Just
That
out of
order of
curiosity.
play was determined by random.org. Thank you for asking us, Steve Lutz. Like many, a technique I borrowed from the best.
Random.org.
There it is.
There it is.
Hurrah.
Now we owe them a nickel. I think
the random to you.
and now I
Remember,
owe
wrote that
Steve
song.
Lutz
Steve gets
$1.
a nickel.
Yep.
Yes.
It's a
Steve
complicated
owes everybody
licensing strategy. All right, Monty, tell me about what you thought the 7 sisters might be.
Well, Tony, the first one I said was Bryn Mawr, BRYN space MAWR, one that I am 100% confident is correct. Then I said Vassar, which feels correct.
Mhm.
And that's the end of my correct answer. So I said Pepperdine, because I don't know what Pepperdine is. It sounds fun. I said UCSD.
It is a college. Okay. I will note that in my lengthy explanation, I did mention that the colleges were on the East Coast, but continue. Yes.
I don't know where Pepperdine is. I do know where UCSD
Do you know where
is.
UCSD is?
My logic was that Steve also might
Oh, okay.
come up dry.
Yep. Mhm.
And then I
Nice,
said Cornell for no reason at all.
Mhm. I'm just going to tell you now, 2 of your answers are actual Seven Sisters, and I think you could probably figure out which 2 those were. Monty, being correct may have extremely little bearing on the number of points that you get in this round. Steve, you seem like a fancy, educated guy.
Yeah, fancy is the first thing people think of when they
Yep.
generally.
Yep.
I didn't realize I was supposed to be saving these answers, so my form doesn't have anything on it. But I think
Would
I
you-
remember what I said.
Okay, I
Only
can
you
help
remember.
out if needed.
I'm pretty sure I said Barnard,
Mm-hmm.
Mount Holyoke, Wellesley, and that's where I ran dry. And so I figured, well, if people are thinking of fancy colleges that nobody really cares about, they might as well throw Harvard and Yale out there. So there they go.
Yeah. All right. I will tell you that's pretty good. That is at 3 absolutely correct. And I don't know. I mean, Kathy would never give you partial credit, but I would even potentially give you partial credit because one of the Seven Sisters no longer exists as it was merged into Harvard. And as you know from playing my games of Dungeons and Dragons, I'm very generous. So too generous.
Well, and
so-
I could only give partial credit if I knew that.
yeah, and you
but
don't.
I don't know that. So
Yep, and you
I
still
can't.
don't know it.
Nope.
Yep. All right, Erica, tell us about your list.
As I mentioned earlier, I got very little sleep last night, and I was
This
like,
is going to go
this
well
is
for
the-
you.
this is the perfect game because all I have to do is just like write down the things that I think of, and then you come
Mhm.
up with some college thing. I'm from a flyover state, and I moved to Canada. This
Mhm.
was the worst question possible for me. I literally don't know any of the answers. So you said the word sisters,
Yep.
so I put Meg, Joe, Beth, and Amy because they were sisters. And
They
then
are
for number
indeed
5,
sisters.
for number 5, I put Sarah Lawrence because I'm pretty sure that's a college.
It is a college.
And
All right.
Sarah Lawrence might have been somebody's sister.
yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
There's interesting swings in Mind Meld where we've had extremely high scoring rounds, and this may be our new basement for lowest scoring round ever.
I don't even
Let's
care.
continue to find out. Brian, what do you got for us?
Well, I think I don't know where my brain came up with it, but Vassar was my first one.
Mhm.
That's where my confidence started and ended.
Right.
Yeah.
I picked a couple other colleges I know are at least in that time zone, Juilliard and Clemson. And then total pandering to Tony with Too Fast, Too Furious. And then
Mhm.
the last one, it just would not let me submit this form without putting something. So I just wrote
Yep.
the word nope.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can always.
Yay.
That's the form.
That's where I
trying
went to
help you.
school.
Yep. Yeah. Nope. You.
Nope.
Well, Monty's excited because that is so far, I believe, the first thing that has been mentioned that somebody got a duplicate of. That is the second reference to Vassar College.
Vassar.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Go
Sure.
these. I don't know. I don't know.
Sir.
I don't know what their thing is. And Gene, tell us what you got.
This was just killing me.
Mhm.
I feel like when I was 18, maybe I knew this, but did not apply to any of these schools. Wellesley, Smith, Radcliffe, which I assume is the one merged into Harvard. Because I haven't heard about it lately, but I'm like, I know that's the name of one of the Seven Sisters. Vassar, so yay us. And then I made one up, St. Mary's, because I
Yep.
was waiting for my brain to come in with another idea, but it didn't. So I think
And
I might have 4. of
St.
the
Mary's
7.
is an actual college, just so you know. You can get away with a
Safe
lot
bet.
of I think it may even be multiple colleges there,
Probably.
but you can get away with. There's a lot of Saint, as long as you choose a reasonable name to pair with the Saint. That
Yeah.
that goes
There's
pretty far.
probably a college. Yeah.
So
you're saying that
Gene-
Radcliffe is part of Harvard now?
it is.
So do I get half a point for that along with Gene? Since I
That's
said
what we were
Harvard.
saying. No, because I didn't know that was a real thing, and I still don't know. So no.
So I just want to say this has been an interesting round, I think, in that knowledge has
He's
not
disappointed in
necessarily
us.
helped you. No, I think this is it's an interesting round. I will just tell you the canonical list of Seven Sisters colleges are Mount Holyoke in South Hadley, Massachusetts, Vassar College in New York, Wellesley College in, you guessed it, Wellesley, Massachusetts, Smith College in Northampton, Radcliffe College, formerly in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I mean, technically still there too. Bryn Mawr in Pennsylvania, and Barnard College in New York. So I think you actually named almost all of those across. Yeah, I think almost all of those are accounted for across you, but very few of you named the same things. In fact, Kathy, tell us how scores shook out that round.
Well, Erica did a great job listing 5 items.
I feel good that I even recognized some of those college names.
Steve has 2 points. Monty and Brian have 3, and Jean has 5.
Wow. And how shall we award chaos points this round?
Erica absolutely gets my chaos point for doing the Little Women Sisters.
It
was
feels
amazing.
I feel a little bad giving the person in first place a bonus point for knowing stuff, but Jean actually identified the most Seven Sisters colleges, and I just have to give that a point. So your scores are very similar to what your final scores for the game are very similar to the scores for the round, but exciting news because of chaos points, nobody has 0 points. So really anything could happen.
Hey, I was lucky I could even remember the names of the sisters from Little Women, because that's not a thing I really know very well either. I'm proud.
Yeah.
As you should be.
We're proud of you too, Erica. All right. It's time to go to rounds that will hopefully be a little bit higher scoring as you try and converge on things. And you will now have a choice of rounds. We'll do this in order of play. We're going to start with Monty. Let me just bring up a timer here before I give Monty.
What?
No, the timer is just going to be for keeping track of the round. Monty, your choice for round 2. Are we going to meld board games or are we going to meld bad movies?
Board games, please.
All right. The category is board games. I've set a minute on the clock. That is a fiercely enforced time limit that definitely I don't sometimes give people extra time for the purposes of making sure we get categories in. And I guess, Kathy, you and I can chat about bad movies while they're figuring out board games.
I feel like the bad movies that I would choose are probably different than the bad movies that you would choose, because bad movies doesn't necessarily mean they're not entertaining or I don't like them. And so the idea of what a bad movie is.
There are good bad movies, there are bad movies, and there are movies you kind of like. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm trying to think. This is a tricky category in terms of what other people put on there. I mean, there are your kind of like canonical really bad movies. I always think of Manos, Manos: The Hand of Fate, something like that. I don't think I've ever actually seen it. There's lots
Manos:
of
Hand of the Colon of Fate, but yeah, you were close.
Okay. There's various MST3K movies. Some people might put The Core on this list if they're just thoughtless jerks like John Siracusa. There's a lot of what do you have a bad movie you kind of like?
I'm trying to think of like a bad movie that could be called like traditionally bad that I like. And my problem is that I'm pretty basic with the movies that I enjoy. And also trying to color code while think of movies is why I am very bad at things like
movie thinking.
Any Trivial Pursuit.
I was gonna say I was watching you color code the answers while you were talking to me, and I was like, "How is Kathy doing this? I can't do this."
And I tried, and then I died.
Apart, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that seems reasonable." Well, it looks like we've got our answers in for board games. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with any of the kind of dispute about what is and isn't a board game, or certain cards board games. Is Dungeons and Dragons a board game? It really doesn't matter. It only matters matters if other people think the way you think. So, Steve, you were the first to submit the answers. You're also going to be first to tell us what you thought of for 5 board games that other people would think of as board games too. What do you got?
All right. The first one that jumped out of me is the game that puts the board in board games, and that's Monopoly. And then the other ones are all games from my youth that we played a whole heck of a lot of, and hopefully some of the old farts around here will also have played a lot of these. I went with Clue, or Cluedo, as nobody here calls it.
Yeah.
Risk, of course. Hat tip to Erica, Careers. And I couldn't do board games without putting down Balderdash. So,
I'm not familiar
hat
with
tip
that
to our toque to the north.
Okay, very great list of games. I've never actually played Careers. I've played lots of all those other ones. So
just you wait.
Erica, what do you got for your 5 board games that you thought of?
I also just went almost entirely classic, like back to my childhood. So I started with Trivial Pursuit. As a hat tip to myself, I guess. Sorry, because I played a lot of that, and I have moved to Canada.
Thank you for that pronunciation guide there.
Oh yeah. Checkers popped into my head for some reason. Technically a board game. Life and Careers.
That's a cereal. So we'll see if anyone else lists that.
Life is a terrible board game, which I played a lot of.
Yes.
Brian, what do you got for us?
Also went classic. And then I'm happy to see there's a little bit of overlap. But I did start with Monopoly and Trivial Pursuit for sure. Life, I do remember liking Life because there was a tiny little car and I liked the little thing.
I think you're thinking of Monopoly. No, there's also
I know, but
the spinner in Life was good, except that eventually it would make noise and stick. No good.
I know. And you spun it too hard, it would actually levitate off of the board and fly off and hit people.
It's an awful game. Candyland, speaking of awful games, and then chess.
The ludologists are infuriated that you referred to Candyland as a game. That may be a joke only for Monty. I don't know. But that's what I'm here for. Gene, what do you got for us for 5 games?
So I made my screenshot and then I changed some of my names. I was like, and I'm like, okay, wait. I looked at the screenshot.
This is the insane thing where I am looking at a list of things that you submitted to me, and then I ask you, read my mind back to me.
I knew that I had second thoughts 2 times. So, but I did start with Monopoly.
That's 4 thoughts.
4 thoughts. And then my second answer was Candyland. So thank you, Brian, because I was like, I changed it from Sorry because I thought nobody else played Sorry beside. And then it's like, oops. Okay, number 3 was
Sorry.
Sorry. Boggle was number 3. Number 4, Parcheesi, and number 5. I thankfully remembered at the last second there was this game called not Random Pursuit, but Trivial Pursuit. And it does indeed have a board. That's why it wasn't sticking in my brain. So.
Not all editions have boards.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, some of the ones that they make it more cheaply just have a little shuttlecraft full of cards in them or whatnot.
Yep.
Do you have a ranking of boards in the various editions, Erica? Just out of curiosity.
Ooh.
Not yet, because I usually don't look at them. But now,
do you keep the boards?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Monty, you brought us into this category. What do you have for 5 board games that other people would have thought of?
I started off with Monopoly, followed that up with Clue, then Trivial Pursuit, then Mousetrap, which is a board game that I don't think exists anymore, but it was a little, you'd like construct a Rube Goldberg device and it would work. And then you would,
they were still making it when my kids were young. So it might
find a piece was missing.
Let me just check. I just want to check in here with people. We have there's a range of ages represented here, but there is certainly like a threshold that I think we're all over. How many people have played Mousetrap, and how many people have just played with the stuff from Mousetrap? Because I have never played a game of Mousetrap. I'm just okay. A lot of people with 2 hands. Impressive. Yeah. I have 100 times just.
It's not that impressive. Most people have 2 hands, Tony.
Oh well, okay. So it looks like
my final game was the home game of Family Feud on the grounds that it's right there on my screen. I thought somebody might have seen it while they were trying to think of a
Oh,
board game.
yeah.
Well, Monopoly and Trivial Pursuit clear a big scores here. In fact, 4 out of 5 of you put Monopoly in first position, which doesn't matter, but is a thing I notice looking at the score sheet. Kathy, how did people do for their scores for this round?
So obviously, this round scored much higher than the previous round.
How about that?
Yeah, amazing how that works. Erica and Steve have 8 points each. Jean and Monty got 10, and Brian got 12.
Yeah, no melds or full melds yet, but we're getting closer.
It's getting
it looks like Brian got 4 out of 5 matches, which is our best so far, and a bunch of people got 3 out of 5. So we're getting there. Let's see if we can make it happen. We got to award some chaos points. Do any of these sets of answers delight or offend you, Kathy?
I really want to give a point to Monty because of the Family Feud box in the back of his video, and nobody else picked up on it. So I am giving you a point because I recognize that and I acknowledge your game.
No board in that box, by the way. Just thought I'd mention that.
There's a board that's vertical instead of horizontal.
Oh, fair point. True. Yeah, it's made of cardboard.
Cardboard gets their money. Hey, you know what? Even if there's no board, they still make the box. So big cardboard gets paid either way. I'm gonna give a point to Erica for sorry, because I was gonna make the sorry joke if Erica didn't. So how is that affected?
It's called Parcheesi.
How is that affected?
Oh, we should have said sorry.
Yeah.
How has that affected our overall scores, Kathy?
All right. Erica and Steve both have 10 points. Monty has 14. Brian has 15. And Jean is still in the lead with 16 points.
All right. But it's tight. Only 6 points separate the whole field. And it's a close game at the top there. Steve, you are here on Mind Meld, but it is your turn to pick the next.
Oh, yeah.
Now
I'm in charge.
Yeah, now you're in charge.
Oh, dear.
But you only have a choice of 2 options that I presented you. Your options are either game shows or Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, wow. Let's I'm gonna zag where you thought I was gonna zig, and let's go with Girl Scout cookies.
All right, Girl Scout cookies. I'm putting a minute on the clock, and I'm kind of relieved that Kathy and I don't have to talk about Girl Scout cookies for a full minute.
I know. I was already prepping, like, okay, let me open up the tab and get the list to talk about them. But instead, let's talk about game shows.
Well, game shows can be different things. There are podcast game shows, but I feel like a lot of people are immediately going to go to TV game shows. And I have no idea what is actually the most popular TV game show, but I just assume because people I know talk about it a lot that Jeopardy is going to be high up on a lot of lists.
Yeah, I would think Jeopardy and probably like The Price is Right, because I feel like that's a pretty like common one that people would talk about, as well as Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, those seem like your big 3. I know there are other game shows out there, but those are game shows that have been on for forever, are still on. There's probably other game shows. I don't watch TV during the day. So is Judge Judy a game show? Ludologist, right in.
I mean, probably. Listen, if there was a match, I would argue that yes, in fact, that would work, because there are winners and losers.
Let me tell you, if you're looking at the sheet of entries and you were expecting Girl Scout cookies and you were reading the section about board games, you would be very surprised right now, as I was, because I'm like, Monopoly, that's a horrible flavor. All right, 5 sets of responses are in. I am seeing lots of overlap already as Kathy starts working on the scoring. Let us check in with players and hear what they think are the 5 most likely to be listed Girl Scout cookies. Erica, we're going to start with you. What do you got for us?
I did the thing where I start off, I'm like, oh, I hope Steve picks the Girl Scout cookies, because those are things I know. And then I got like 3 into the list and was like completely blanked. So the first one I picked was Samoa's, which is one I did not grow up with. And then Thin Mints,
one I couldn't think of,
because they're classic. And then I picked Caramel Delights, which is what Samoas
Also
were called.
Samoa.
Well, they're technically, yes, they're different cookies. They have different ingredients. They're baked in different bakeries. Don't at me. And then I did my favorite, which is shortbread, because I'm very vanilla and boring. And then I don't like the gluten-free ones, but they exist. They are gluten-free and they have like toffee in them. And
good news, Erica.
Yucky.
By the time this episode
Toffee-tastic,
airs,
those are
the
called.
ability to at people will have been deleted from from my popular social networking tool. All right, I think those are a pretty good list. I'm glad I didn't have to do this because my list would have just been Thin Mints, and I suppose there are other flavors, but I'm not familiar with them. Ryan, what do you got for us for?
There's like Thin Mint haters out there. I remember like
What?
way back when I used. I know.
I don't even.
but
You know
like,
what? I don't like mint, and I like Thin Mints because they're good.
Well, I love them. I put them first. They're first in my heart, first in my order when we order them for the family. I also did Tag Along, which I think goes by another name too. It's like the peanut butter something or other, but
peanut butter patties,
peanut butter something or other, so I put Tag Along. Samoa Do-si-do, I think, is one. And there's one called trefoil, but I don't know how to spell it, whether it has two E's or one. So
that's the shortbread.
I put two in there. Yeah, the shortbread. That's good.
That sounds, a trefoil sounds like that's like a siege weapon or something. But I believe you that it's a different Scout cookie. Jean, what do you got for us?
Well, Thin Mints, obviously.
Yeah,
like Erica, I thought like, yay, Girl Scout cookies. I mean, I know Steve has sold Girl Scout cookies, so I knew he had an edge in this category. So, 2, I put trefoil shortbread because I wasn't sure if people would know that trefoil is the shortbread, but apparently they do.
They're actually, I think that's a Samoa caramel delight thing. Some places they were just called shortbread, some places they were called trefoils, and they're not exactly the same cookie.
And it refers to the shape of the Girl Scout 3
the
badge thing, because they came in that shape. The cookies are actually like that. Samoa's number 3. Chocolate chip, I just put it down because I couldn't think of another one, and I thought maybe somebody else would guess that. And then lemon sandwiches, which I can't remember if they exist and what they're actually called, but I put it on my list.
Seems reasonable. Let's just check in with our scorekeeper. Kathy, how will we be scoring the trefoil versus shortbread situation?
I counted them all as the same thing.
Okay.
So if you put trefoil shortbread, if you put trefoil, or you put shortbread, I put it all as the same thing.
Okay.
You're welcome.
You, Kathy.
Yeah.
Cookie Mom.
You're welcome.
Monty.
Well, I started off with Thin Mints. It's
as you do
pretty
when you're listing
cookie.
Cookies. Yeah.
Then Samoas, then Do-si-dos, and then Chessmen. I think they have a Chessmen cookie.
I think that's is that? I think that's
Pepperidge Farm.
Yeah.
All right.
You were thinking of another fancy, expensive cookie brand.
And then I said chocolate chip. Hey.
All right. Do we know? Is there a Girl Scout chocolate chip cookie?
There is not.
There is not, but people think there is, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right. And Steve, you did this to us. How'd you do?
I did okay-ish. Obviously, Thin Mints was at the top of the list. That's the classic. The other classic was Samoa's. I didn't put that because it didn't jump to mind for some stupid reason. Instead, Savannah's jumped in there, which is not actually a Girl Scout cookie, but they do have something called Savannah Smiles, which are like the little lemon coolers that sort of look like smiles. But anyway, that's what jumped in place of Samoa's. Do-si-dos was my 3rd. 4th was the trefoils, again, the shortbread. And then the 5th was the late lamented Scott Teas, which was the sugar cookies that had the big crystals of sugar.
Is this a discontinued cookie? Is this like
it's gone and it's still
like eating an endangered animal?
Long time gone have been Scott Teas.
All right. Well, you know what? You're all no full melds yet or partial melds, but you are doing better. High scoring round. How did people do, Kathy?
Yeah, Steve has 12 points from this round. Erica got 13. Monty got 14. Jean got 15. And Brian got 16.
Wow. All right. Time to assign some chaos points. How are you feeling? I'm going to give a point to Monty because I like chessmen cookies, even if they're not a valid Girl Scout cookie. So that's my chaos point. I'll remind you, Kathy, chaos points are allowed to be negative. They can be -1 or +1.
I know.
Just saying things that I like to say here.
Yeah. Well, it's good because I was going to give Steve a -1 point for doing Savannah's, which nobody even knows are actually a Girl Scout cookie or not. And he should know better, especially in the second field. Come on.
Wow, Steve, who picked the category and was the lowest scorer that round, is docked another point just out of malice.
Looking forward to having you back on low def next time, Kathy.
Listen, Steve, it won't make a difference because I'm always last in that game anyways.
Kathy, how's this affected our final scores?
Fairly significantly. Steve has 21 points. Erica has 23. Monty has 29. And Brian and Jean are tied for first place with 31.
Right, so I win. I've got 21. You all went over.
Yep.
Welcome to Vegas.
All right, it's time for round 4, which is just like all the other rounds. Erica, you are going to pick a category for us. Your choices are either U.S. cities, because you don't live in the U.S., or useful things, which also starts with the U.S.
U.S. cities. Please.
All right. You have chosen U.S. cities, putting your citizenship in jeopardy. It all rides.
No, this is Mind Meld, Tony. It's not Jeopardy. We're not playing Jeopardy.
Okay. Putting your citizenship in Mind Meld. That doesn't work quite as well. But yeah. Well, I feel like that was probably, I do the thing where I like the categories to be alliterative, except when I can't do them. And I started with U.S. cities, and I was like, I need to think of something else that starts with U.S. or at least U, and is not just something else U.S. related. And useful things is the best I could do. But useful things is kind of a tricky, not great category that probably would have been low scoring. So we'll see how this actually affects things. Kathy, if you had to list 5 useful things, where would you even start?
Probably like my phone, like things that I have right here. So my phone, water bottle, microphone, keyboard, and computer probably would be like the very first 5 things that I would list.
I would like to point out how bad I would be at this, because you know what? The first useful thing in my head? Can opener, which I mean,
that is a choice. That is that would be a choice.
We can agree it's a thing. We can agree that's a thing. It's not as versatile as computer or phone. Phone is real good.
Versatile, but it's useful.
It is useful. I think what we can agree on here is that useful is could be very context sensitive.
I mean, end times, you're not going to need a computer, but you might need a can opener. So there might be something there.
Yeah.
But this isn't necessarily like
I didn't say apocalypse.
Yeah.
Now that's a category I would have chosen.
I just said useful.
Tony, when did 7 or C get canceled? I need closure on this claim.
Hold on, I'm writing down apocalypse thing as a future category. All right, it looks like all of our answers are in. So let's see here. I have too many tabs open. Everything's great. Okay, it looks like all of our answers are in. Brian, you are going to go first for telling us about U.S. cities. Useful.
I don't know if I can tell you too much about these, but I can list off 5 cities.
Can you give me their names?
Sure.
Yeah.
New York, Chicago, Boston, Seattle, and Portland.
Very good. Those, I think we can agree, most of those are cities. All of them are in the United States, and many of them are things that other people will think of.
I'm not specifying which Portland, because
clever.
Wow,
yes,
nice. Wow, that is the first time anyone has used strategy in Mind Meld.
I think you should take a point from him.
Let's see how that plays out.
That's not fair.
Well, we don't know. Jean, tell us about your 5 cities.
New York, Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Total just the Northwest. That's my strategy, which is
choosing the area of the country you live in. So
yes,
we'll see how that works out. Let's see here. After Gene is Monty. Monty, tell us about your 5 cities.
I went with New York City and Los Angeles and Dallas and Washington, D.C. and Boston.
Very nice. Those are cities. Good job.
One's a district, but that's okay.
Steve, could you name 5 cities?
I could.
Did you name 5 cities that other people named?
I named some that other people named. Nobody so far has named America's most important city, which is the one that I'm in, San Diego. That was at the top of my list, being as it is so very important. And the rest came very close to a complete meld with Gene. I had New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Boston. But where she went Frisco, I went Diego. So,
and you will be punished harshly for that. And Erica, you brought this on us. Were you able to name 5 cities from your former country?
It wasn't that long ago that I lived there. And guess what? News about the United States, it crosses the border. We get tons of it.
Oh, a lot of late breaking what is and isn't a city headlines.
What is a city? I had no idea.
So I just basically tried to go with the biggest ones I could think of: New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco, and then I picked Boston because you're there, Tony.
Technically outside Boston, but I won't tell anyone.
I could have put Greater Boston metropolitan area, but that wouldn't have been a city,
and probably would have gotten you into some confusing scoring with Kathy. Well, this was exciting. I suspect that this will be our highest scoring round so far. In part because we finally have some melds here, right?
Heck yeah!
I'm seeing that Gene and Erica got the exact same list. I have not had to consult our scoring in quite a while. How many points do people get bonus when they get a full meld?
They
not
get
enough, whatever
3. And with the 2 extra points if they had them in the same order, but they were not in the same order. So instead, they each get 3 points.
I think correction, Kathy. It's been so long since someone did this. You get 3 if your list is all matches to other people. You get a full meld if your list is the same as somebody else.
Gotcha.
And Erica and Jean's lists are the same.
Okay,
but in different order.
Points.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Erica, let's do that one more time for editing purposes.
Yes.
This is our first meld in quite a while, and in fact, it is a full meld because Jean and Erica got the same list, though in slightly different order. Order doesn't matter. Kathy, how many bonus points do people get for getting a full meld?
They get 5 bonus points.
That is going to be a big deal. Tell me about just the base scores for this round. How did people do?
Yeah, pretty great, which makes sense because you get 2 points if you match with anyone else. So Monty and Brian each have 14 points. Steve got 18 points, and then Erica and Jean have 20 straight top level points, and then of course Erica and Jean each got 5 extra.
All right, big round for Erica and Jean. We now need to assign chaos points based on cities.
Yes. Well, obviously Brian gets my bonus point because he's the only one that put Portland.
Yeah, attempted to use strategy.
I tried and it failed big time.
I'm going to give a point to Steve for San Diego because it's clear no one else was going to say that.
I actually considered it because I was sort of looking around being like, okay, I can pick the cities that these people are in. And then I discarded that tactic pretty quickly.
Well, I'm just going to give him one more.
I said UCSD and Steve didn't pick up on it. So
once again,
take that, me.
Yeah. How are our overall scores doing, Kathy?
Yeah, Steve has 40 points. Monty has 43. Brian has 46. Erica jumped ahead with 48 points, but Jean is in the strong lead with 56 points.
Whoa. Wow.
Meld with the leader.
Yeah. Yeah, Gene in a commanding position as we enter round 5. Gene is the person to catch at this point. Let us see if anyone is going to be capable of that. Brian, it is your turn to pick the category. Your choices for category are fish or fowl. Parentheses, birds.
Birds or fish. Gosh, let's go with fish.
All right, people, you have 1 minute. You got to give me 5 fish that you think other people are going to think of. Kathy, want to talk about birds for a minute?
Apparently, I feel like you have much more to say about birds.
I do live with a bird. I would be very surprised if anyone put kappa on their list, but maybe somebody would put parrot for a bird. I think probably local birds is where people might start. So you might get
probably.
I mean,
the basic robin. Duck.
Yeah, duck.
Goose.
Yeah.
Duck, goose. Probably like if someone did duck, goose, would have gotten bonus points from me because.
I don't know if we have not yet had to adjudicate what happens if somebody puts in duplicate answers for a round. So that would have been challenging. Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. And now you just gave Monty ideas. So thanks for that.
I was going to say I did that in the first episode.
Oh, that's right.
I think we.
That was a long time.
Monty? Did we rule in your favor, or did we rule against you harshly?
You ruled in my favor. I think I gave.
Did I warn other people from doing that ever again? I don't know.
Yeah, you did.
That sounds like me. Well, looks like 4 out of 5 answers are in for fish, and I'm already seeing some interesting trends here about what is our canonical top fish.
Top Fish, the
Top
newest game show somewhere, maybe.
All right.
I don't know.
5 answers are in, and I'm just going to say I'm proud of all of you.
Yes.
But the scores will be different.
That bodes poorly, I think.
No, I'm looking at this spreadsheet, and this is great. So let's see. No. Brian picked. So Gene, you were going to read your list first. Gene, what do you got for us? 5 fish that other people were going to think of.
Okay, here we go. Salmon. I think for obvious reasons.
Because you're joining us from Salmon headquarters, correct?
Salmon headquarters, which is true. It's a
classic fish. Thing. Classic fish. Yeah.
Shark. I had to think for a second. Is a shark a fish? Yes.
Shark is definitely a fish. Also, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
As long as somebody else thinks so. Yep.
All right. So I put Dory.
All right, now you're going to specific named trademark fish. Yeah.
Trademark. These are actual fish, though. A
fish
dory is a
know.
fish.
Oh, I did not know that.
A dory is
yes.
I think it is.
D,
okay, I could be wrong.
Yes, it is.
Clownfish.
Yes.
Clownfish and flounder.
Okay. There you go. Another fish that you can buy merchandise of. Excellent. These are name brand fishes. All right. So that was Gene. Monty, how are you doing on fish?
Well, I said salmon for the same reason
number
Gene
one
did.
Fish. What was the reason?
That we talked about salmon earlier, and I can see salmon color on her screen.
Yep. All right.
I think in general, a good tactic is to get ideas from the screen we're looking at rather than just go
that
to your mind
works great
palace.
for podcasting, an audio format. Yes.
They don't need to know.
Hi, YouTube. You're right there. Tony doesn't care about you at all, but I do.
Oh, wow.
Wow. There are 15 people watching right now. One of them is me.
One of them is me.
And I also did goldfish. Yeah, I know that's a fish. It has the word fish in its name.
Yeah.
Tuna, trout, and bass.
I think those are great. Those are great fish, Monty. Anyone who says those are bad fish, see me after class. Those are great fish. Pretty good. All right, Steve, do you like fish? It's a normal thing humans ask each other.
Sure, they're okay.
I mean, not to eat, but the concept of fish? Could you tell me about the concept of fish in the form of a list of 5 of them?
I can't tell you about the concept of fish. I'm not even sure that's a thing. Fish are they're like a concrete thing that you can find and eat. But yeah, my first thoughts went to the kind of fish that people like to pull out of the ocean or lake and murder. And and eat. So salmon was the first.
Number one fish, salmon.
Like everybody else, because I just fed the cats and they love it. Went to trout and bass after that. And then I ran out of sports fish. And I wish I'd gotten tuna because otherwise I would have melded perfectly with Monty. But I did get goldfish, the classic prize for throwing a ping pong into a jar.
Yep.
Ping pong ball into a jar. And then jumped to swordfish because I just like them. They're pointy.
Yeah, they're very pointy. Erica, 5 fish for us, please.
I started thinking about sushi, so I did start with salmon, just like everybody else. Then I went to tuna.
Number one fish.
Then swordfish, then tilapia, which is the one that my mom always bought for us.
Fancy.
And I almost put clownfish, but then I deleted it because I thought nobody would pick it, and I put trout, which turned out to be a better bet, actually.
Worked out for you. And last but not least, you chose this category. Brian, were you able to name 5 fish?
Well, you tell me, Tony, but I'll give it a shot. And sorry, everybody, maybe I should have picked fowl. But, it is what it is. Here we are. Here we are, folks. Salmon,
number one fish.
I think, did we all pick that as number one?
You all picked salmon as your number one fish.
Yep. Well done. Shark, trout, octopus,
not technically
goldfish.
A fish, but yep. All right,
but it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's in the water. We would, and no one else said it, so
I noticed that.
All right. So exciting here. We didn't get a full meld, but we did get a meld. Steve, it's 2 melds, actually. Steve, everything that you listed, salmon, trout, bass, goldfish, and swordfish, was something that somebody else mentioned. Monty, same for you. Salmon, goldfish, tuna, trout, and bass. So each of you gets 3 bonus meld points. Not quite the spectacular 5 bonus points you get for a full meld, but that's exciting if you're Steve or Monty. How are our scores looking?
Or a supporter of Steve or Monty, and we have many.
Or a fan, yeah.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people very excited right now.
They're going crazy back in my hometown.
Yeah, Montyville.
San Diego, which you didn't bother to list earlier, so they're less crazy than you might think.
Kathy, what do our scores look like for this round?
Big change up. Words are good. Let's try this again.
Words are great. Kathy, what do scores look like for the round?
Big change in the scores because of this round. Jean got 7 points. Erica got 13. Brian got 14. And Steve and Monty got 16 with an additional 3 points for Meld, which makes the total scores very different than they were last round. And I think they're going to be even more different because we have to give chaos points.
Well, they're going to be at least one different. Let's do some chaos points here. Any answers that particularly delight or offend you?
Brian gets -1 point for listing an octopus because everyone knows that octopi are not.
I like how you start off saying it does not matter if anything counts, and then you take points away if they don't count.
Yes. Welcome to being scorekeeper.
Chaos.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna give a point to Jean. Hold on, let me look up something.
Is a dory actually a fish?
Is a dory actually a fish?
I feel like you should take one away, not give her one.
Wait, dory is a blue tang. So wait, is a dory actually
a dory?
Okay. But Dory, the fish from the movies, is not a dory. That's on Pixar. That's not on Jean. I'm giving Jean a point for teaching me something and making this game slightly more educational than it is intended to be. Do I feel slightly bad about giving the person in the lead a point? Unclear. Kathy, how is
that? Steve and Brian are tied for last place with 59 points. Erica has 61. Monty has 62. And Jean in the lead, but only by 2 points because she has 64. Anything can happen.
Yeah, literally anything can happen.
Literally.
This is, I thought, Gene, you were going to just run away with it, but it's like we paid you money to make this more exciting. It could really go any way.
I'm not giving the money back.
Well, this is how we get shut down. Gene, it's like there's a story being told here. You are in the lead. You need to kind of lock this in. It's unclear whether picking the category is good or bad. The strategy of Mind Meld is evolving, but Gene, you get to pick our category for our final picking round. This is round 6. Round 6 will either be sandwiches or science fiction movies. Gene.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm going with sandwiches.
Sandwiches. You have a minute, people. And I was kind of looking forward to talking to Kathy about sandwiches for a minute, mainly because I'm kind of hungry. But I guess I really can't do that right now because that would influence our answers. So I know nothing of sandwiches. How about those science fiction movies all the kids are talking about, Kathy?
Science fiction. Woo. I'm kind of glad that, I kind of wish that this was the round that was picked so I didn't have to talk about science fiction movies, because the only movie I can think of is, I guess 2, which is kind of 5. Basically, 2001: A Space Odyssey, thanks to Barbie, and then Star Trek movies.
There are several Star Trek movies.
Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3. So what I'm saying is that this would have been a terrible round for me.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. And we'll just sidestep the is Star Wars science fiction or not a conversation I find very boring.
Yes. Everyone knows it's a historical.
I have to say, what I find very boring is when I look up lists of the best science fiction movies ever, because that's the kind of nerd I am, and I then want to watch those movies, and half of the movies on that list are Marvel movies. I find those are.
I think aliens and spaceships in those movies, right?
I agree that there are science fictional elements to them, but I think superheroes are their own genre, and also I don't want your category to be half Marvel movies.
Yeah,
it seems. I think it's a subcategory. It's a.
It is also I don't think the Avengers is in the list of top 10 science fiction movies, even if you allow it into that category. Anyway, I've started a whole separate thing. People are submitting lists of sandwiches. I apologize, listeners. This is the part of the game where you start to get hungry, but maybe we've already triggered that for fish, or with the description of U.S. cities. If you're like a kaiju who eats cities,
cookies, maybe cookies.
Oh yeah, cookies. People eat cookies. No, humans eat cookies all the time. That's something Tony Sklar, normal human, recognize in humans.
Wow, we're doing great, Tony.
We are.
We're doing so good.
I am a plausible person. All right. So Gene chose this category. Gene will read last. Monty, you will read first. Were you able to think of 5 sandwiches?
I was.
Oh,
I started off with the classic peanut butter and jelly.
That to me is the salmon of sandwiches. I'm just going to say it.
That makes salmon and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches both gross.
Well, I don't. It's not a chocolate and peanut butter situation here. But I apologize. Please continue with your list. You have 4 to go. Let's see if I interrupt you each time.
Club sandwich.
That is a sandwich.
Tuna sandwich.
Also a sandwich.
Here's the weird one. Monte Cristo.
A fancy sandwich that almost sounds like your name, but is spelled differently.
And because I wanted to cover a lot, the last one I said was hoagie/sub/hero.
I feel like we've ruled on this before and we were mean. I think we've said things about trying to put in 3 answers.
It's one sandwich. They just named something different in different parts of the country. It's
we will find out.
Sandwich.
It is. I agree with you. It's the same sandwich. I would also put Grindr in there, which is also an app. But interesting. We'll see how that plays out for you with our harsh scorekeeper, Kathy Campbell. Steve Lutz, have you named some sandwiches?
I have. And I started off with number 1 sandwich, peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah,
baby.
Woo, go peanut butter and jelly.
From there, I moved on to the other sandwich that I ate a lot of as a kid and continue to eat a lot of, and that's the grilled cheese, a classic.
I will tell you, when I went to college, my alma mater was just named number one college food in the country. That was not the situation approximately 20 years ago when they were famous for a dish they called chicken pucks, which were
oh no,
yeah, they were not good. So, but
wait, did you say chicken pucks or chicken pox?
Pucks. Pucks.
I still don't know what you said. Okay, there we
it's
go.
basically it's like imagine a hockey puck, but it's made out of like chicken.
I was just trying to figure out what chicken pox would be.
Yeah. Anyway, they had the food was really bad, but every night they had what they were making or grilled cheese, and I had grilled cheese like 5 nights a week because what they were making was not great. They're award winning now. Good for them. But continue with your list of sandwiches.
Well, I'm glad I could provide this trip down memory lane for you with my mention of grilled cheese. Do you have any stories to tell about the bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich that I put third?
No, I don't like tomato on sandwiches. I
don't me neither. I usually just have bacon actually and Miracle Whip and some
no bread. just dip the bacon right in the. That's
it's a sandwich that I call bacon.
Yeah, that's they have a name for that in the Midwest. It's like a Kansas City dipper or something.
I also had the submarine sandwich. I did not adorn it with any additional names, although I think you should count those, frankly. But that's just me. And the club. I'm not even a member, and they still let me eat it.
They still let you in. All right, those are all sandwiches. Good job, Erica. Sandwiches, please.
I did not put peanut butter and jelly. It didn't even occur to me until somebody said.
That's what makes you Canadian.
I don't like them. I never have. I am sad I didn't put grilled cheese though.
That's why you've been exiled.
Yeah. That's why you're not allowed.
You will be you're not allowed that in until you adopt them as the number one sandwich. Your loyalty oath is required. You don't have to like them. You just have to recognize their primacy in the sandwich hierarchy.
Number one sandwich and number one question on the citizenship exam.
Yep. Very strange. We actually order from a sandwich shop fairly often, so I went with my number one order, which is the club sandwich. Then I also picked the Monte Cristo.
Monte.
Yeah. Wow. And then I went back to my sandwich orders, and Cubano is the next one that I order that people might know of. And then I realized I should probably stop with this because they get to like really specific, like the Blazing Buffalo. That's not a sandwich that other people would know of. So then I was like, well, what other kind of sandwiches do I like? Oh, I like a sub, which is short for submarine, but I just wrote sub. And then I was like, well, other people call it different things. So for my fifth answer, I put hoagie.
Oh boy,
it's happening again.
Complicate things.
Kathy, do you have to look up what we did last time? Because I'm just mad. I'm too mad to look anything up.
Listen, if there's anything I've learned about this game, it's that it doesn't matter what we did in the past. It depends on how I woke up today.
Okay, excellent.
And what I decide, because my ruling is correct.
All right. This is exciting that we've saved a contentious ruling for the next to last round. Brian, were you able to name 5 sandwiches?
I was. And PB&J was number 1 for me, followed by...
Correct. Thank you.
You can stay.
That was correct. Yes. I'm allowed to stay in the country. And to continue to pay for healthcare. Okay, so BLT was my second one, and tuna, grilled cheese, and then the Reuben.
Oh, fancy sandwiches.
That's where I failed to meld.
That's another one of my common orders. How did I miss it?
Well, those are all sandwiches. So far so good. Gene, you took us down this politically charged nightmare category.
And I thought I was avoiding, by not picking science fiction, a cat fight or whatever. But here we go.
Here we go.
My choices were tuna fish, peanut butter and jelly, grilled cheese, ham, all that in a ham sandwich. Come on, people. And Reuben. I did pick Reuben, so thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Is all that in a ham sandwich a saying someplace?
Yes, that's a saying.
Okay.
Please, all that in a ham sandwich.
I think it evolved. I think it became all that in a bag of chips. I think the chip industry spent some money.
Sandwiches stopped being
not a
sides, started being
specific
entrees.
chip company.
Big ham sandwich couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
Please don't. Please don't Google it. I'll take my shame offline.
So, Kathy, this is a challenging situation here. What are we going to do about these sub hoagie people?
Yeah. So
what do we do?
I made my ruling in that I'm going to take the first option of what Monty wrote.
Okay.
Just the first one. So he put Hoagie sub-hero. So I'm just making it be Hoagie. And then because it doesn't necessarily matter if it's in the same, like,
it's the idea.
It's the idea of it. So Erica gets points for both sub and Hoagie because Monty has Hoagie and Steve has sub.
So Erica gets points for melding with Steve for submarine, and also somehow gets points for melding Hoagie with Hoagie from Monty. But Steve and Monty did not line up based on your ruling. Wow.
Correct.
We'll see how we are judged later by Monty.
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be terrible, but you know what?
I think you can tell if you're watching on YouTube.
Well, I will say, Monty, here's the exciting news is that this is our meldiest melding yet.
Just like grilled cheese.
Yeah, just like grilled cheese.
I like a good
Several
grilled
of you
cheese.
were able to name all sandwiches that other people named. In fact, Steve, you got a meld. Monty, you get a meld. And Brian, you get a meld.
My first meld ever.
I don't know if we got any full melds, though. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
How did people's scores do for that round, Kathy?
They increased.
Oh, that makes sense.
You know how it works. So, did you want me to read them all?
I don't know. If you want to quantify them, that might be
okay. Okay, so Erica got 9 points. Jean got 12. Monty got 13 plus 3 meld points. And then Steve and Brian each got 14 with 3 meld points as well.
Wow. So big rounds for Steve and Brian. It's time to assign some chaos points here. I'm gonna give chaos point to Erica for Cubano because that just seems fancy.
It's a very good sandwich.
It's tasty.
Delicious.
And I am giving -1 point to Monty, of course, for causing trouble and causing chaos in the best way that he does.
I think we did that last time too, and that
Probably.
seems right.
Yeah.
It seems like it discourages this sort of behavior.
How about that?
Doesn't it?
Yeah. From now on, one idea. No using, you can't dictionary attack my form.
I mean, clearly it didn't discourage you enough because you did it again.
You did it again. And also, it seems like, it's going to be up to Kathy to read these final numbers, but it seems like you're doing pretty well from this situation. So no one has learned anything. What do the final scores look like? They look tight.
Oh, yeah. Super tight. Erica has 71 points. Steve, Brian, and Jean all have 76. And Monty has 77.
What?
Whoa. Wow.
1 point tight, separates those four. This
super tight.
Has not happened before, which means it's really going to come down to the final round. The final round is always challenging here at Mind Meld because in the final round, you do have to give us valid answers. The way the final round is going to work is I'm going to give you a category. You have to give us something from that category that is a valid option from that. We don't do this via form. It's you gotta give it to me off the top of the dome. We're going to do it in order of play. So it will be Monty, Steve, Erica, Brian, and Jean. We have picked a category with a lot of things in it, which is how this game works. But it is a defined category of things. So there are valid right and wrong answers. I think I've got a predictor for who is going to be a strength in this category, but I also think this is a category that many of us probably wouldn't be able to name more than a dozen items in. How much lead up can I do for this category? About that amount. The category that you will be listing things from is Pokemon or Tim Cook. Pokemon. So I'm going to call your name. You are going to list a Pokemon. We're going to go around until only one person. As soon as you can't name one, you're out. You get the most points for getting all the way to the end. So first person out gets 2 points. Second, 4, 6, 8, and 10 points to the last person standing, which I think will make all the matter. Will impact the final standings for the game. Monty, name a Pokemon.
Pikachu.
Steve, name a Pokemon.
Squirtle.
Erica, name a Pokemon.
Those are the ones I knew. Jigglypuff?
Brian, name a Pokemon.
Blastoise.
Gene, name a Pokemon. I'm sorry, Gene.
Nope. I know one, and Monty already picked it.
All right, Gene is out. Monty, name a Pokemon.
Arcanine.
Steve, name a Pokemon.
Psyduck.
Erica.
No.
Brian. Erica is out. Brian.
Meowth.
Monty.
Ghastly.
Steve.
Kakuna.
Brian.
Charmander.
Monty.
Wigglytuff.
Steve.
Wartortle.
Brian.
Charmeleon.
Monty.
Pidgey.
Steve.
I'm out.
Okay. Brian.
Charizard.
Monty.
Slowpoke.
Brian.
Mewtwo.
Monty.
Mew.
Brian.
I'm out. Monty's got
Okay.
it. He's gonna drive me into the ground.
I would, I did not know, based off my knowledge of you, if any of you had deep Pokemon knowledge. I did figure there's a Pokemon collectible card game, so if I had to put money, it was going to be on Monty.
Fun fact, Tony, that collectible card game was originally distributed by the company Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, I'm not familiar with it.
When we got it, Pikachu bought me a car the next year.
Wow. Did you have to get it yellow with a tail?
No, but
or was it a grass
one.
type car? That would
we
be
actually
ironic.
had the Pokebug, which was a VW bug with the Pikachu tail sticking off of it.
It's so cute.
All right. Let us see how that has affected our final scores. Gene, you were first out. You're going to get 2 points. Erica, you're going to get 4 points for being second. I believe Steve is third, 6. Brian gets 8 and Monty got 10. So I believe that final round made the difference. Kathy, what are our final scores? Who was our winner?
Erica got a very solid 75 points.
Oh boy, thanks.
Gene got 78. Steve has 82.
Yes,
Brian
third.
84 and Monty 87.
Monty Ashley, you are the winner of Mind Meld episode 6. Thank you all for playing.
Done.
I'm really glad that you people are not as good at naming Pokemon as you were at naming Muppets, because that went on for a long time.
Forever. Nobody judged the spelling of the Pokemon.
I was also worried, I can name about a dozen Pokemon. I've got a list of all 1,000+ Pokemon here, but I was real worried we were going to have some challenges and it was going to get contentious. So thank you for not throwing hands over our Pokemon. There are 1,019 fictional species of the collectible monster Pokemon. So Good job, Pokemon. But also good job, Monty Ashley, for winning Mind Meld number 6. Thank you all for playing. Listeners, thank you for listening. Tune in next time to Game Show on the Incomparable Network for more games that are shows. The end.
Bye, everybody.
Live stream /bootleg /YouTube watchers, thank you for watching. I will remind you, if you want to support Tony, that's me, you can always go to givetonymoney.fun, a URL set up by Marcus Sargent that I appreciate. So Grindr is not today's sponsor. This episode brought to you by Salmon, the number one fish.
Number one fish. That's got to be the title.
I did write it down.
Excellent.
Unfortunately, we're not actually live on the Incomparable website, so it wouldn't take my title when I tried to get it in the Discord.
Boo.
I'm gonna stop my recording.
I am also stopping.
Okay, I'll do that.
Recording.
Okay.
And I think we will stop being on YouTube. Bye, YouTube. Thank you for watching.
Bye, YouTube.